Good evening and welcome to Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha Live. We are here at Barber Motorsports Park for rounds 9, 10, 11 and 12 of the British Sim Racers MX5 2020 Pro Series. Last week the meeting was held at Sebring and we had race 1 being won by Jamie Ayres. The second one was won by Vincenzo Amico, with IMSA driver Stephen McAleer taking the race 3 victory, and the final victory of the night in race 4 was taken by Nathan Davies. For those of you who are new to the British Sim Racers MX5 2020 Pro Series and you're not sure how it goes, what we'll have for you today is 4 15-minute races, and races 2, 3 and 4, the grids will be decided by the Yearone Racing TV spinning wheel for the reverse grid. So even if you finish near the back of the field or you're not having the best of races, there is the impetus to keep on going, because you could get yourself a good reverse grid, and that is exactly what some of these drivers do when they have the accidents. As long as they stay on this lead lap or one lap down, they will be eligible to take part in the reverse grid draw. I'm Dan Blake in the commentary box tonight, and you have Graham Sessford producing on the cameras as well. And we're just watching the cars qualifying at the moment. They've had about 3 minutes of the session. It's a 15-minute qualifying session. And the very early representative times are that James Sharp is currently on pole position. We're looking at him now in the number 137 car from Movano. He is currently on pole position with Aaron McGregor in second place. Ben Sharp is in third for year 1. You've got Mikey Key fourth, and Ralph Cullinan currently rounding out your top 5. And we are going to go on board one of the drivers to see what entails this 2.3 mile or 3.70 kilometre circuit. And it looks like we're actually going to go on board with the Year 1 racing driver of Ben Sharp in the number 24. So he's just now completing the lap. He's going to go round turn 15, very downhill as you can see. We're now on the start-finish straight, and Ben Sharp going to the left a little bit, trying to, he's staying out of the air of the car in front. We're now going to go down into turn 1. It's a very undulating track. He's gone on the grass a little bit there. That's going to compromise him for turn 2, and he's just keep the car on the track. Goes around turn 2, and he's now gone through turn 3. It's sort of like a multi-apex corner, and then as you go over the rise, the right-hand kink is turn number 4, and then you're on flat on the throttle before breaking down into the hairpin at turn 5. As you hear, Ben will go down a couple of gears, and then it takes that left-handed hairpin, and then we got another little short shoot as it goes through turn 6 there, and then it's to run up to turn 7, 7A and 7B, one of the more technical sections of the circuit. As you see here, he gets on the brakes, but this one here, you've got to get this perfectly right. It's almost a little bit like the corkscrew at Laguna Seca in some ways. And then he comes out of turn 8, and then they've got the run towards 9 and 10, sweeping corners, and if you get these right, you can gain a lot of time. You see Ben Sharp taking turn 9 and 10 pretty well there, and now he's on the run down the straight towards the end of the lap and turn 11. Another one which is very undulating there, you go down and then up towards turn number 12, and then turn 13. This track, as you say, is almost like a mini Nürburgring, so many ups and downs. And as we go round to turn 14A, and then we say we've got the downhill left-hander at turn 15. Ben Sharp is going across the lines. A car crashed there to the right, or to the left even, against the pit wall. It just shows you get a corner wrong, you can have a really big accident. And the lap time there for Ben Sharp, he did make a mistake on that last lap. His lap time is let's see where Ben Sharp is. He has dropped down the times at the moment, Ben Sharp. He was in the top 3 or 4, but just in the time you were going through that lap on board with Ben Sharp, it changed completely. We have Steve Hefford currently on provisional pole position at the moment, with Jamie Ayres, our current championship leader, in second place. In third is Stuart McAleer, racing for McAleer McCumbee Racing. He's currently in third place, with Michael Vortman in fourth, Aaron McGregor is in 5th. Mikey Key is in 6th, with Carl Hardy in 7th. Ralph Cullinan is 8th. James Ritchie 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is Cesare Rizzo. But as you say, we've only had 6.5 minutes of a 15-minute session. These times are going to change very frequently as we now look at the Momo car about to cross the line. It gets very loose. That was, I think that was Jamie Ayres. That's Jamie Ayres in the 46 car getting very loose. His teammate Steve Heffer behind him. Did either of them make an improvement on that lap? Yes, Steve Heffer did. Steve Hefford now goes to the top of the time at 138.511, and also an improvement for Mikey Key. Mikey Key up to 4th place at 139.131, so a good lap there from Mikey Key, and it was our pro driver in 4th place. As you can see down the side of our timing tower, you have drivers which have a blue on the left hand side, which indicates they are a pro driver, and the drivers on the left hand side with the green, as you see on the top of the screen there, are signified as an AM driver. And we have a pro and AM separate championships here in the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Series. And we are now just going to, speaking of the championships, I believe Graham's going to get up the championship standings for us now, starting with the pro. Leading the championship in the pro class, we have Jamie Ayres on 667 points. Behind him in 2nd place is Adrian Hendy for Yearone Racing with 638 points. But as of yet, I haven't actually seen Adrian Hendy arrive at the track, so I'm not sure if he's going to be taking part in today's meeting. 3rd place is Kip Stevens for Team Automet Knock Hill. He's on 603 points. And then we have Chris Knox, the double mini challenge champion in real life racing. He is on 593 points, representing Double Clutch Racing. And then rounding out your top 5 in the pro class is a British Sim Racers veteran, Carl Hardy, for Result Claving. He is on 550 points. And very shortly, we'll bring you up to date with the AM Championship as well. AMs are up on the screen there, and it's Martin Sampson for Team Automet Knock Hill, currently leading that championship on 592 points. 2nd place in your AM Championship is Mick Barry for Work Guard by Result. He's on 580 points. In 3rd place is another driver from the Result stable of teams. It's Craig Jones, Safeguard by Result. He is on 541 points. And another driver in 4th place from those trio of teams is Alan Toon, the Work Guard by Result Claving car. He is on 537 points. And 5th in the AM Championship is a driver who's new to the championship this year and a new team as well. It's Ryan Moles for Frantic Racing. He is on 469 points. We spoke about teams, and now we'll have a look at the Teams Championship. So Momo currently lead our Teams Championship on 1,506 points. We have Result Claving in 2nd place. They are on 1,446. 3rd place is Team Automet Knock Hill. They are on 1,394 points. Closely followed by Work Guard by Result Claving on 1,388. And rounding out the top 5 in our Teams Championship is Yearone Racing with 1,287 points. So those are our current championship positions after 8 rounds of the championship. And as I said, this evening we will see rounds 9, 10, 11 and 12. We've got the 3 Result Claving car, not 3 Result Claving, 3 Momo cars working together in the line there. Steve Hefford is the first one in that line, and then Peter Van Gool and Jamie Ayres, the 3 Momo drivers. They have been long-standing drivers in this British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Series, so they're sort of some of the drivers that you expect to see near the top of the times. And just having a look now, see if there has been any changes in the times. James Sharp up into 5th place from Ivano. His time, a 138.716. We've also got Ben Sharp for Yearone Racing, the driver we went on board with for our hot lap. He's done a bit of a better lap than the one he did when we was on board with him. He has done a 138.539. And that puts him under half a tenth of a second off of our current pole position holder, Peter Van Gool. So Peter Van Gool on pole position, a 138.495. Steve Hefford just 0.016 behind him, his Momo teammate. Ben Sharp is in third. Then in fourth is another Momo car, championship leader Jamie Ayres, who is 0.117. So 3 out of the top 4 cars on the grid currently are representing that Momo team. And as I say, you've got James Sharp in 5th for Yearone Racing, and then Kip Stevens rounding out your top 6 for Team Automech and Knock Hill. See if there's any more improvements coming up on the timing screen. We have a very big grid of drivers today. We currently have 36 drivers who are registered to race. Some of these drivers, though, will not be qualifying because with the British Sim Racers, they do have an appeals and penalty system, and there are a few drivers, it looks like, who will not be qualifying in this session due to penalties they've had in previous rounds. I can see at least about 11 drivers who have fallen foul in either Sebring or Watkins Glen on the first 2 of our American tour, shall we say. We've got 3 American races in a row. Just having a look now, see, we got looks like an improvement for Mick Barry. Mick Barry, who's currently second in the AM Championship, has gone 19th overall in qualifying with a 140.628. So Mick Barry just over 2 seconds off of the leader, and he's also 1.9 seconds off the AM Championship lead as well. So you've got James Sharp, who's currently our leading AM driver, just 2/10 off of Peter Van Gool. And then second place in AM, you have Michael Voltman with the car of Aaron McGregor in 3rd place. Also Ryan Main, an American AM driver for Yearone Racing, he's currently in 4th place. And then Joe McDonald is 5th on our AMs. But as you say, we have just under 2 minutes to go. Anything can change, and it usually does in the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Championship. We're now looking on board with the number 3 of Lewis Payne, currently sitting 21st overall. He had a green sector in Sector 1, but nothing too special at the Sector 2 or 3. But can he make it in Sector 4 to find that missing time? He just comes around turn 14 now towards that downhill left-hander at turn 15. Payne goes around there now, down onto the start-finish straight, and he was currently 21st place with a 141.0. It is an improvement. He crosses the line now. It is an improvement for Lewis Payne, a 140.973, but no change in position there. So Lewis Payne improves time, but not position. As we look at the Treble T car of Graham Slack for Yearone Racing, he's currently sitting in 22nd place overall. He is the next car behind the car we just saw there of Lewis Payne, but Graham Slack has about just about 4/10 of a second difference there between Payne. It's like about 3 and a bit tenths of a second for Graham Slack. Just looking to see if Graham Slack has done any better. No current green sectors on sectors 1 and 2. He will very shortly be completing sector number 3. No, it's green, so Graham Slack has got a green 3rd sector, so could see an improvement compared to the time that Lewis Payne just did. He is actually nearly 1/10 of a second quicker in split 3, and it looks like he's been quicker as well in the previous sectors, although a little bit wide there into 14. That's going to compromise his lap, and Graham Slack, who was looking for an improvement, he still may get an improvement on this lap, but it could have been so much more for the Yearone Racing driver. He's going to cross the line now, and the lap for Graham Slack is a 142.3, so that mistake through turn 14, really costly, and that'll be the final lap he gets in. The checkered flag is now out, and let's see if there's anything going on. Top 5-6 currently, no changes. There's a lot of the drivers actually currently in the pits at the moment, although we are looking on screen at the car of Aaron McGregor, the number 17. See if he can make any improvements. So have a look at his time so far. He has got 2 green sectors at the moment, sectors 1 and sector 2. Sector 3 lost a bit of time, but if he can make sector 4 just as good as his first 2, he may see himself into the top 10. He had to find about a 10th and a half. Crosses the line, Aaron McGregor. He was in 11th place. He's up into the top 10. Great improvement now, 139.183. So right at the death, Aaron McGregor puts himself in the top 10 for Roning Sim Sports Academy. As you can see there, the starter has his checker flag there, signifying the end of our qualifying session, and most of the drivers are currently in the pits. Now looking on board with Charles Kellyman, who is in 12th place, but he's backing out this lap. There's been no improvement in the first 3 sectors. So I think for Charles Kellyman, it's going to be a disappointing final lap for him, and he's going to put himself towards the... He's going to stay, it looks like, in 12th place. We're going to, just to make sure, but it doesn't look a very quick lap from Charles Kellyman, and it's not a quick lap. He's actually a lot slower, but he will take the checkered flag in this session, and we don't have too much longer left on the clock. I think pretty much everybody has set a lap time. As I say, we've got those 11 drivers starting from further back who had penalties, and amongst them we have the race 4 winner from Sebring, Nathan Davis. We have the race 2 winner from Sebring as well. We got Vincenzo Amico. Chris Knox, also one of those drivers who has not been able to qualify. Also with Daniel Hunt and David Ward. So we do have probably 5 or 6 drivers who are top 10 drivers who are going to have to get themselves from the back. But they've got to be very careful they do it in the right manner. Otherwise, they find up finding themselves some more penalties at the next round. So we have our grid now for round 9 of the championship. It's Peter Van Gool on pole position. Alongside him is his Momo teammate Steve Hefford. Ben Sharp third for Yearone Racing, with Jamie Ayres fourth for Momo, the championship leader. James Sharp is top ham and fifth for Movano Racing, with Kip Stevens in sixth for Team Ultimate Knock Hill. Stuart McAleer, Mikey Key in 8th. 9th is Carl Hardy, with 10th place Aaron McGregor. Michael Volkman in 11th place, with Charles Kellyman in 12th. 13th is Ryan Main, 14th Ralph Cullinan, 15th is James McRitchie, 16th Mick Barry, Cesare Rizzo 17th, Joe McDonald 18th, Dale Bennison 19th, rounding out top 20 is Craig Jones. Lewis Payne 21st, Graham Slack is 22nd, Phil Reagan and Alan Toon 23rd and 24th, Andy Maxwell 25th, and then the drivers who did not qualify: Vincenzo Amico, David Ward, Daniel Hunt, Chris Knox, Rob Graham, Nathan Davis, Steve Cooley, Martin Sampson, Ryan Moles, and also Roger Morton and Jason Wiley. So a very strong 36-car grid in this race today at Barber. We have 4 races, as I say, 15 minutes in length. The first one will be 15 minutes in length, and then what they'll do is the organisers will see how many laps get completed in that 15 minutes, and that's what the race distance will be. But we are about to get started here. We've got the lights on the screen now. We've got 4, 5, and the race will be underway now, and it's a good start from Ben Sharp on the second row. Looks like he's going to try and challenge Steve Hefford into turn 1. They're not quite going to be able to put it down the inside, but also Jamie Ayres challenging Ben Sharp. Bit of contact there between the Momo and Year 1 driver. Ben Sharp able to hold it around the outside, but there's been Peter Van Gool has gone wide through turn 2, and they're going to be nearly 3 wide for second place. It's Jamie Ayres in second place, Peter Van Gool, and also we have James Sharp from Movano Racing. They're all together as they go down the straight towards turn 4. We're going to break now into the hairpin for the first time. Looks like the first few drivers have got through cleanly, and Steve Hefford trying to make a clean break from his Momo teammate Jamie Ayres, the championship leader. Peter Van Gool is in 3rd place with Ben Sharp in 4th, but a very clean start to the race so far on this first half a lap, and we've seen in races before that hairpin producing some problems, but it looks like everyone has gone through okay at the moment. We haven't seen, we'll say that, there's some contact in the background, and there's a Year 1 car there getting shoveled round. It goes back across the track, but luckily to the left hand side of the track. That's going to cause a loss of position, but there's not going to be any terminal damage luckily in that one. He's lucky not to get avoided, lucky to get avoided and not be hit. But Steve Hefford is at the front of our field at the moment. As you say, he leads from his teammates at Momo, Jamie Ayres and Peter Van Gool. Ben Sharp, though, in very close attention in 4th place, and Steve Hefford, who hasn't yet won a race this season in the BSR MX5 Pro Championship, we're looking to get his first win this season. Steve, a very experienced driver, and one you think it's only a matter of time before he does get his first victory. Puts the car down around turn 1. That's what you see Steve Hefford do there. If you take that turn 1 just a little bit too fast, you can push wide on the exit, and that will cause you some problems with the grass. But Ben Sharp is keeping Peter Van Gool under very close attention in that fight for the final podium place as they now come down towards the hairpin again at turn 5 for the second time. He goes a little bit downhill before the turning point for the hairpin, although Ben Sharp's going to have to be careful. He's in that position at the moment where he's got to think about attacking and defending, because he's got James Sharp behind him in the Movano racing car, and then Kip Stevens behind as well, the team Automet Knock Hill. But at the moment, as we say, it is these three Momo drivers who have got the first three positions and are locking out the podium this season in the BSR Mazda MX5 Pro Championship. We actually have had a fair few different winners. We've actually had 6 different winners out of our 8 races. Jamie Ayres, though, has taken 3 rent-to-wins. So Jamie Ayres is the man who leads the championship. And if you now look at Stuart McAleer from Macumbi McAleer Racing in 7th place. We've got Aaron McGregor in 8th place. So Aaron McGregor has had a pretty decent start. We saw him get a last-minute 10th place in qualifying, but the Ronin Sim Sport Academy driver has found himself making up 2 places. And just behind Aaron McGregor, you've got Mikey Key for Double Clutch Racing. And there's a car off into the wall. That's McGregor. He's taking that last turn. We saw someone do that in qualifying as well. And McGregor, we would just a curse the commentator for Aaron McGregor. It's going to get. We're going to have a look at the replay now. We're looking at Mick Barry, it looks like, and what we'll see here is McGregor 2 cars in front. Is getting to the. McGregor has already had his accident. It looks like what I think's probably happened is McGregor, as we now go on board, we're now going to be looking at Aaron McGregor. So what happens is he goes around turn 15, as we say, quite a tricky corner. You push wide, the wheel on the grass, and then the MX5. That is not what you want to do, and a hard impact there into the pit wall. So very unfortunate for Aaron McGregor. He's done a very good run. We now look at his teammate Steve Cooley in the other Ronin Sim Sport Academy car. And there's a Yearone Racing car. They're making 2 places on the brakes. Let's have a look at that. Who was that making the moves? That is the car of Ryan Main. So Ryan Main, I think it was probably Ryan Main who had the issue on the first lap that we saw. But fantastic move there from the American driver. Making, I think this is BSR Pro Series debut, Ryan Main. Showing that he can make a move or two. He's got Jason Wiley behind him. And he's also got Ryan Mole. So a frantic racing sandwich with the Year 1 driver in the middle. He is the filling in that sandwich. But we currently, as you see, the top 6 drivers very close together. We have Hefford, Ayres and Van Gool for Momo. Ben Sharp is in 4th with James Sharp from Movano in 5th, Kip Stevens 6th. And it's those 6 drivers who have pulled out a gap towards the rest of the field. It's quite a big gap, nearly 4 seconds before you have the driver Stuart McAleer in 7th. Although Steve Hefford's in the wall! Steve Hefford's had a moment as well, coming out of turn 2. And then a further accident. Oh, Stuart into the side. Oh! Contact again. That's an asymmetric car involved. That looked like James McRitchie. But all sorts of drama going on here at Barber. 2 incidents in 1. But Steve Hefford, we said it was just a moment of time before he managed to get a victory, but it won't be in round 9. We've got a very slow car there to the inside of the hairpin as well. That's Carl Hardy. I think it was Carl Hardy who was involved in that contact with McAleer. He's going very slowly, and it was Carl Hardy who was behind McAleer on circuit. So maybe some damage there for the Result clothing car. Very bad luck for Carl Hardy, who's currently actually 5th in the overall championship going into this race. And there's Mick Barry there getting very racy with Nathan Davis. And Nathan Davis, one of those drivers who started near the back, and he's already up into 11th place. So a very spectacular first 4 laps for Nathan Davis. I don't know if we can see on the graphic how many places he's made up, but so much more momentum on the grass there. Nathan Davis has made up 20 places. Make that all very close as they go through turn 11 and turn 12. But Nathan Davis, as we say, a man on a mission, up 20 places. He started this race in 31st, and he's now on the edge of the top 10 and putting Mick Barry under all sorts of pressure in that work guard by Result car in front of him. And if Nathan Davis can get through, he's going to have a bit of a gap to catch to Ralph Cullinan, but Nathan Davis gets a slipstream. Daniel Hunt coming through the pack as well. He's another one. He started down to 3 wide at the front though. That is Crazy stuff, and oh, that's not good. When you saw them go 3 wide into turn 1, you didn't think it was probably going to end well. And it's Mick Barry, who is the unfortunate victim there. He's come out just ahead of Graham Slack. So Mick Barry down to 18th place. It was Davis, Mick Barry, and it looked like the car of was one of the other cars there as well. They went 3 wide. Not very advisable. It was, you're looking at the replay on the screen now. You see they go 3 wide. Mick Barry just tags Nathan Davis and then gets a hard hit from Daniel Hunt. And there was also James McRitchie involved in that one as well. And we see, oh, there's another good battle there going through on the inside. Rob Graham. That's a good move. He's got it stopped. I don't think he gets stopped. Oh, he's been door banged though from behind by Craig James. So Carl Hardy involved in that one as well. And as per usual, that's another one. It's Graham Slack as well, using some time there in the background and sort of going across the grass. But Rob Graham in very close quarters here with Craig James. And the BSR MX5 Pro Series is showing entertainment as per usual. We're just about halfway through the race. But as you see, battles going on all through the pack. And although they're very close, there's a bit of contact. It's not dirty racing. It's just very close, competitive, hard-fought action. And at the front, with us of Steve Hefford, has seen Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, take the lead. And he has pulled out nearly about a second gap to Peter Van Gool. Ben Sharp, though, right on the back of the Momo driver. And then we have James Sharp and Kip Stevens. Steve Hefford did get back on the track and is currently in 6th place. Hasn't lost too much time, but a mistake from Hefford dropped him from the lead. And unfortunately, down into 6th place. But it'd be interesting to see if Ben Sharp can make any impressions on Peter Van Gool in this race. Peter Van Gool, another BSR veteran. He's been in the championship many years. That's a lot of these drivers. That's the thing about the British Sim Racers. We get the same drivers coming back year after year. And then we also have very fast newcomers as well, like Ben Sharp, for example. In real life, Ben Sharp is a Honda Civic Cup driver with the BRSCC. He's a very quick driver there in the front-running car in the Civic Cup. So, and as we said, we've got drivers like Chris Knox as well, a double mini challenge champion. Also raced in Britcar. Chris Knox currently in 17th place at the moment. So Chris Knox trying to make his way through the field. He goes past Mick Barry. So Chris Knox up into 17th place there. And as we see, it looks like that is, we've got another one of that's Mick Barry and David Ward. So David Ward, another one who started near the back. The drivers that got the penalties are now just starting to make their way through the field. But there's about 5 minutes to go. And I think David Ward that's Andy Maxwell. Very aggressive driving there from Andy Maxwell, and David Ward, the unfortunate victim. That was going through the turn 11 and 12 section, and David Ward is going to drop down at times. So there's some contact there, just like in front. You see the dust being kicked up as David Ward, as we say, dropped down into 22nd place. As Andy Maxwell in 20th. He's under pressure though from Joe McDonald. So Joe McDonald alongside, and there's a car in the wall behind as well. That is one of the safety guard cars, Roger Morton. So Roger Morton dropping down the timing screen. Just going to have a look at this now with Roger Morton. He had Steve Cooley behind him. I think this was a totally self-inflicted one. Oh, it was. He lost it midway through the corner. And that is not good. We've seen McGregor do that earlier as well onto the wall. Not so hard for Roger Morton, but that was a completely different incident. He lost that mid-corner and just wasn't able to save it. And as we say, turn 15 is actually quite a tricky circuit. It looks like that it's quite a simple one, but definitely not. But the battle for the bottom end of the top 10 hotting up, because we've got Vincenzo Amico and Nathan Davis, two drivers, which we say started near the back of the field, and they're now on the edge of the top 10. They're going to catch up on those cars ahead of them pretty quickly, I believe. That's Ralph Cullinan, Michael Voltman and Mikey Key. Michael Voltman is actually currently second in our AM standings at the moment. Leading the AMs is James Sharp in 4th overall, so fantastic effort from the Movano driver to be 4th. Second in DAM is Voltman. And in 3rd place, driver we haven't spoke about all evening, Dale Bennison. He's come up to 13th place overall and 3rd in the AMs. And looking at Dale Bennison now in that work guard by result claving car, and it looks like that we have lost a driver into the pits as well. Daniel Hunt is showing as in the pits, and yeah, Daniel Hunt in the pit lane. So Very unfortunate for Daniel Hunt. We saw him in the thick of the battles earlier. He's going to drop down the timing screen and down the order. Only a couple of laps to go, but as we say, we're looking at Dale Bennison, who's currently sitting, say, third in the AM Championship, third in the AM standings, shall I say, and in the AM Championship, not in the top 5 is Dale Bennison. In the AM Championship, leading it currently is Martin Sampson, and Martin Sampson is currently, he didn't actually start the race. A non-starter was Martin Sampson. Mick Barry, who was second in the AM Championship, currently running in 17th place. As we now look at Michael Voltman, who is under intense pressure from Ralph Cullinan behind him in the Result Clothing car. And just ahead of them, they've got Mikey Key for Double Clutch Racing. So a nice 5-car scrap here with just over 2 minutes to go in this race. I think when the leaders will have potentially 2 laps when they cross the line. I think it will be 2 laps to go. But Voltman is under pressure from Ralph Cullinan. And I think Amico and Nathan Davis will be getting in on this as well. A very loose moment there for the Yearone Sport driver of Amico has allowed Nathan Davis to catch him up. And as they go through turn 14, it's getting very close in this pack. I think this is where we need to stay on board for a little bit longer with these drivers. There is going to be 2 laps to go. It's going to be very tight there. I'm pretty sure it will be 2 laps. But Amico is going to put Ralph Cullinan under pressure. He's also, say, got Voltman. Amico looks to show the nose of his Mazda MX5 there. But it's not going to phase Ralph Cullinan. And all the time, you've got Nathan Davis behind. They've got a massive gap of 9 seconds behind Nathan Davis in 11th to the 12th place car of James McRitchie. So these 5 can afford to have a bit of a battle because they're not going to, if they lose time, it has to be quite a big incident for them to lose any more places. Although Nathan Davis late on the brakes around the outside for the hairpin at turn 5. Amico on the inside. That was a very late move by Nathan Davis. That car getting very sideways for Nathan Davis. But they are still in the line, this battle between Key, Voltman, Cullinan, Amico and Davis. At the front it looks very close as well between Peter Van Gool and Ben Sharp. We're now going to go to that battle now. Ben Sharp going through turn 10, no, turn 9 and 10. As they now go down towards turn 11 for the penultimate time, taking a lot of curb there, Peter Van Gool. And Ben Sharp lost a little bit of time, I think, coming out of turn 10. It wasn't enough to cost him a place. Although Kip Stevens took in their places, looking to make a move on our leading AM driver, James Sharp. He wasn't quite able to do it. But Jamie Ayres should be coming across the line now to start the final lap, as we see, looking on board with Peter Van Gool. Yeah, it's gonna get there just in time. So there we go. The final lap board is out for Jamie Ayres. And Peter Van Gool in second, Ben Sharp third. But battle for behind. Kip Stevens looking to make that move. He does sideways. Is he going to keep control of it? They're on the grass. It looks like maybe potentially contact there between Kip Stevens and James Sharp. You can see on the side of Kip Stevens' car, that car has a bit of damage. It has a scuff. We're now going to have a look at the replay. And it looks like potentially a netcode incident there, which we can get on the iRacing service occasionally. Looked like James Sharp's connection maybe dropped at the pivotal time. There was contact between the 2 drivers, as you can see by the damage on Kip Stevens' car. But Kip Stevens, very sportingly, has let James Sharp back pass. So Sharp is in 4th, Kip Stevens 5th. But at the front, it's as it was with Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, leading from Peter Van Gool. Ben Sharp in 3rd place for Yearone Racing as they now go through turn 8. And we're on to the final section of the lap. We got Nathan Davis dropping down the timing screens as well. I don't know what's happened to Nathan Davis. He was in that battle with Amico, but I can see him dropping down the timing screens. Mikey Key 10th now and McRitchie 11th. But what we're going to do is keep our eyes on this battle for 2nd place, because Ben Sharp will be looking to maybe make one last move on Peter Van Gool, but it's going to have to be a late breaking move into 14 or 15, I think, for the Yearone Racing driver. As we say, Ben Sharp races in the Civic Cup on the real circuit, but I think he's going to be denied 2nd place this time. He's going to have to settle for 3rd place, but someone's going to have to settle for nothing less than a victory. Is Jamie Ayres, who takes his 4th victory of the season in round 9 of the championship. Jamie Ayres wins it. Peter Van Gool in 2nd place, just over a second behind his teammate for Momo. It's Ben Sharp in 3rd, and our top AM driver, and taking 4th overall, is going to be James Sharp, with Kip Stevens rounding out the top 5. Steve Hefford in 6th place. 7th place goes to Vincenzo Amico. So Amico very late moves there, because we saw him a couple laps back. He was behind Cullinan and Fortman and Key. They round out the top 10 with James McRitchie and Emma. Chris Knox up into 12th place. And Rob Graham takes the podium away from Dale Benison. So Rob Graham for Team Automet Knock Hill 13th. Dale Benison is 14th. Craig Jones is 15th. David Ward is in 16th place. Mick Barry takes 17th. It's 18th to Phil Reagan, with Joe McDonald in 19th. Andy Maxwell 20th. We saw him have the contact earlier on in the race. He's taken 20th. Carl Hardy is 21st. Graham Slack crosses the line in 22nd. Steve Cooley in 23rd. Jason Riley is 20th. Lewis Payne 25th. Alan Toon, who was 4th in the AM Championship, takes 26th overall. Roger Morton, we saw him have his problems earlier. He's finished 27th. Ryan Main is 28th for Year One Racing. And Charles Kellyman looks like to be our final runner on the lead lap. He has finished in, let's have a look, Charles Kellyman 29th. And then that is the only cars on the lead lap. We've got Nathan Davis in the pits. So we saw him involved in that battle with a couple of laps to go. So Nathan Davis had problems. He's still going to be eligible for the reverse grid draw, though, only being one lap down. As we have our results up, it's Jamie Ayres winning for Momo, his 4th win of the season. Peter Van Gool takes 2nd for Momo, 1-2 for them. The gap is 1.1 seconds. Ben Sharp takes 3rd for Year One Racing. James Sharp is the first AM in 4th. Kip Stevens is 5th for Team Automet Knock Hill. Steve Hefford, our early leader, is in 6th, with Vincenzo Amico 7th. He made up a lot of places from near the back of the field there. Ralph Cullinan is 8th, with Michael Fortman 2nd AM and 9th overall. Rounding out the top 10 is Michael Key for Double Clutch Racing. 11th is James McRitchie. Chris Knox is 12th. Rounding out the AM podium is Rob Graham. He's then joined by fellow AMs Dale Benison, Craig Jones, David Ward, Mick Barry and Phil Reagan, who take positions 14 to 18. Nineteenth place is Andy Maxwell. I should say Carl Hardy. 19th was Joe McDonald. Andy Maxwell 20th. Carl Hardy 21st place with Graham Slack 22nd. Steve Cooley 23rd. Jason Wiley 24th. Lewis Payne 25th. Alan Toon is 26th and Roger Morton 27th. Ryan Main 28th and Charles Kellyman, our final finisher, in 29th. Nathan Davis a lap down in 30th, but he is eligible for the reverse grid draw. On our retirements are Daniel Hunt, Ryan Moles, Cesare Rizzo, Stuart McAleer, Aaron McGregor, and the non-starting Martin Sampson. So now Graham is going to do the reverse grid draw for us, and we'll see which driver takes pole position for race 2. It's going to be a full reverse, so that is Nathan Davis on pole position. He had some bad luck, seemingly, at the end of this race, but he's going to get a chance of redemption as he starts race 2 from pole position, and you'll be able to see that with us here shortly on Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha Live.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome back to Yearone Racing in partnership with down Graham Sesswood on the cameras, and we're now here for round 10 of the British Sim Racers MX5 2020 Pro Series. Round 9 was won by Jamie Samomo, with Peter Van Gool second and Ben Sharp in third. Nathan Davis had an unfortunate incident at the end of round 9, which put him at the back of the field, 1 lap down, but he's going to be the benefactor of our reverse grid draw with the spinny wheel giving a full reverse. So Nathan Davis will be eligible for that reverse grid draw. He was only 1 lap down, and if you are on the lead lap or 1 lap down, that makes you eligible. So Nathan Davis has got a really strong chance, I think, of doing well in this second race. He showed some good pace in race 1. He's one of the drivers that started near the back of the field due to not being able to qualify as a result of a penalty picked up in earlier rounds at Sebring. As we now look at the cars going through their last bit of practice before round number 10. It's just coming down towards turn 4 now. Just through turn 4, breaking into turn 5, the hairpin. And the drivers are very well behaved at the hairpin on lap 1 of the first race. I thought you might see some skittles going on down there. It has happened before in races that we've shown, as we see one of the Year 1 cars sideways. As we now look to one of the Result Clothing cars there. So it's a new livery as well for Result Clothing for this meeting. An update on their old livery, which they ran for about a year or so. So the Result Clothing team, we are the new livery. Ralph Cullinan we're looking at now going through the hairpin at turn 5. There's not his teammates behind him as well. But yeah, the Result Clothing looking very dapper in their new livery, shall I say. So Ralph Cullinan, there we see there, going now towards turn 7. As I say, it's one of the trickier parts of the circuit. It's blind at the start, and you've really got to make sure you hit your marks there. You've also got one of his Result teammates behind him. The car, I think that's it David Ward? It is David Ward, yes. David Ward behind him as well. And we will shortly be going into the race session as David 9. What usually happens with these pre-race practice sessions is that they give 10 minutes for everyone to get into the server, make sure nobody's got any problems, and then we'll see the admins check it early as we see Ralph Cullinan sliding very wide. Did well to hold on to that. Well done, that man. So, as you say, we should be very closely going into our race session, but although the time's not too important in this practice session, James Sharp is the fastest. 139.417. James Sharp finished in 4th place overall and was the leading AM in the first race as well. As we said before race 1, we have 3 different championships. We have the drivers fighting for the overall Pro Championship. We have the AM Championship for the AM drivers, and also the Team Championship as well. Ben Sharp there finished 3rd place in the first race, put Peter Van Gool under a lot of pressure as well during the course of the first race. Wasn't quite able to get past the Momo. I'm sure Ben will be happy with a podium finish, which will consolidate what's been a good start to the season for Ben, really. He's missed the first meeting at Watkins Glen, but since then he has been near the front. At Sebring last week he was near the front as well, and he almost won one of the races before contact caused him to fall down a couple of places. But Ben Sharp, one of the front contenders. Roger Morton as well, he's one of our AM drivers in the championship, driving for Safeguard by Result Clothing. Just getting into his 2nd season, I believe, of the BSR. Was his first full season of the British Sim Racers Pro MX5 Championship. You see his spiders. Barber, synonymous for their spiders. So if you don't like spiders, don't come to Barber, because there are some rather big ones. We're now looking at Alan Toon, the gentleman himself in the work guard by Result Clothing car. Alan Toon actually went into this meeting 4th in the AM Championship after the first 2 meetings. So Alan Toon had a very good first couple of meetings, and his consistency has put him in 4th place in the AM Championship. The driver that was leading the AM Championship prior to round 9, Martin Sampson, he's not actually, it looks like, at the track. So yeah, we're down to 35 cars. So I don't think Martin Sampson's actually at the track, and that'd be a huge blow to his AM Championship. But we are now going to have the grid up on the screen for race 2. Here we go. So it's Nathan Davis on pole position with Charles Kelly second, Ryan Main third with Roger Morton fourth, it's Alan Toon fifth, Lewis Payne sixth, Jason Wiley seventh, Steve Courtney is eighth, Graham Slack ninth, and Carl Hardy 10th. Andy Maxwell 11th, Joe McDonald will start in 12th place, Phil Reagan, Mick Barry, David Ward run out top 15, Craig Jones, Del Bennison, Rob Graham, Chris Knox, James McRitchie run out top 20. Then you got Mikey Key, Michael Vortman, Ralph Cullinan, Vincenzo Miko 24th, Steve Hefford 25th, 26th is Kip Stevens, 27th James Sharp, 28th Ben Sharp, 29th Peter Van Gool, and then race 1 winner Jamie Ayres 30th. The cars who did not finish were Daniel Hunt, Ryan Moles, Cesare Rizzo, Stuart McAleer, and Aaron McGregor. Rounds out our 35 car grid. So Nathan Davis on pole position, as I say, didn't have the best of endings to his race. He's fighting near the top 10, but the chance for redemption for Nathan Davis. We've got David Ward, it looks like, starting in the pits for this one. 4 lights out now, 5, and away we go! And it's Nathan Davis making a good start from pole position. He'll slot in ahead of Charles Kellyman, and the reverse grid, as we say, can bring some unpredictability. Oh, there's been some contact there as well. But everyone seems to have got through from what we see. Oh, there's a car in the middle of the track there, one of the work guard cars. That isn't good. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully no one hit him, but he was in the middle of the track. And in the mid-pack, it is a little bit crazy at the moment. James McRitchie we're looking at now, who is currently in 14th place. And you hear contact or plenty as they come down into turn 5 in the hairpin for the first time. Looks like so far there's a car around. It's a year 1 car. That is, looks like one of the year... Just Graham Slack. And we also got the... looks like Steve Cooney there on the inside and the exit as well. So I think Steve Cooney is on space. But also Graham Slack in the hairpin has been done contact there. So a very busy start to race 2 on the first lap as we see the drivers at mid-pack now going through turn 8. That's Rob Graham that we are looking at, and the Team Automet Knock Hill car. He's currently in 14th place, Rob Graham. Behind him he has Craig Jones, as we now see Charles Kellyman, who is in 2nd place. He started in 2nd place, and the year 1 racing driver for the year 1 racing academy, Ryan Main, in 3rd. The American on home soil didn't have the best of luck in the first race. You saw there's a bit of contact with him on lap 1, which dropped him down the field, but his pace has shown that he's probably is a little bit faster than where he finished that first race. But Nathan Davis has got to be my favourite for this one. And we are now going to have a look and see what happened at the start. We see that there was a bit of just contact all over. Looks like that's Alan Toon losing it on his own. Teammate Del Bennison. Looks like Alan Toon reversed back into the track, and Del Bennison was the one who hit him. So very unfortunate for Alan Toon. Also, there's a little bit more contact. Peter Van Gool got through all the contact. Oh, that's McAleer as well. In more contact. We saw him in the first race be involved in some. Also going to have a look further forward. Mikey Key. Oh, a little nudge. And that's a teammate again. I think that was Cesare Rizzo. So there's been a lot of teammates hitting each other. And we know the first rule of motorsport is you don't want to be hitting your teammate. We're now looking at Graham Slack in the year 1 racing car. And it looks like it was one of the double clutch cars that gave him, Chris Knox gave him a little bit of a nudge there in the hairpin. But Graham Slack losing a lot of time in positions. McAleer went past him as well. And we go back to live pictures, and there's been another big accident there as well for David Ward. So David Ward started from the pits, but that car is an absolute mess. I don't know what's happened there to David Ward, but that's a very substantial incident. But up front, no such trouble for Nathan Davis, who's completed 2 out of our 11 laps. He's in the lead. 2nd place is Charles Kellyman. 3rd is Ryan Main, Roger Morton in 4th. Then we got this gaggle of MX5s fighting towards the bottom end of your top 10. You've got Andy Maxwell there as well. Oh, behind there was maybe a little like Richie going through with Vincenzo Amico. It looks like everyone survived. Amico going down the inside of Phil Reagan. So Vincenzo Amico up into 11th place. And as we said before, with the reverse grid, the faster drivers are back in the pack. See Steve Hefford there as well in close combat with Robert Graham as they head down towards turn 5. Steve Hefford looks like he has made a place. Daniel Hunt as well, one of our race 1 retirements involved as well. And Rob Graham dropping down the timing screens, and Rob Graham is actually in the pits. So trouble there for Rob Graham. So that's maybe one to look at after the race. Rob Graham at the hairpin. In fact, we're going to have a look at it now and see what happened. It was a little bit of a nudge, and then the car just went to the right and a hard impact into the wall on the exit of turn 5 at the hairpin. And then Rob Graham saw enough is enough. In fact, he's still trying to drive that car back to the pits. I thought he'd towed back, but maybe that'd be the advisory thing for Rob Graham to do, because that car looks like in all sorts of mess there, and the Team Automet Knock Hill driver will be racking up the incident points as well as he's going back. And for those of you new to iRacing, there is incident points when there's contact or you go off the track exceeding track limits. You do get incident points, and I think in this series you get 20 incident points, and then you have to take a drive through penalty, and that's Payne dropping down. Lewis Payne. So I had some contact, and the frantic racing driver Lewis Payne dropping down the timing screen as well. Have a look at that now. Andy Maxwell in the vicinity, and it looks like the final nudge, he had lost it himself, and James McRitchie, unable to avoid the contact there, helps him into the barrier. Lewis Payne into the pits, and Steve Hefford's car very severely damaged as well. That's all dented. And his next target is going to be Phil Reagan, but some of these faster drivers coming through are finding that it's not so easy. That is quite substantial damage to the right hand side of Steve Hefford's car there, all the front wing dented in. As we see another exciting battle between Joe McDonald, Andy Maxwell, and race 1 winner Jamie Ayres, who's up into 10th place, but he's got Daniel Hunt following him as well in 11th. So the very quick drivers coming through the pack, and Jamie Ayres maybe try and make a move here on Andy Maxwell, but Andy Maxwell has thoughts on going past Joe McDonald, goes down to the inside towards the start. Oh, contact straight into the door by Andy Maxwell, and he's going to be hit by Ben Sharp. Ben Sharp, who finished 3rd in race 1, caught up in an incident which wasn't anything to do with him. It was just the wrong place, the wrong time for Ben Sharp. It was Andy Maxwell who's caused that collision going into the side of Joe McDonald. Maybe a little bit ambitious into turn 7. Too much speed for Maxwell. We're going to have a look at it on the replay again. You see Maxwell trying to get past. He hits the curb and settles the car. And as they go through to the second point, yeah. So that's not great by either driver, really. McDonald knew Andy Maxwell was there, but Andy Maxwell is still running in 23rd place. And as we say, this contact, it does happen in the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Series, as everyone is very closely racing together. And Jamie Ayres, 8th place, going through turn 1, but Daniel Hunt behind him in 9th. These are two very quick drivers, but everything that's happened has seen them drop 13 seconds behind the race leader Nathan Davis, who's pulled out a nearly 5-second lead to Charles Kellyman. We've got the car of Ryan Maines 3rd, Roger Morton 4th, but Chris Knox is up into 5th place for Double Clutch Racing. He's made up 14 places, as has Asymmetrics James McRitchie. Vincenzo Amico's made 17, but the drivers who've gained the most are Jamie Ayres and Daniel Hunt. They're each up 22 places in the first 4 and a bit laps of this race. So Jamie Ayres and Daniel Hunt have found their way through. As we see Jason Wiley and Kip Stevens in close contact, not close contact, close battle there, going through turn 7 and turn 8, which is where we saw the contact between Maxwell and McDonald. But fantastic battle going through the field. We've got a side-by-side as well. That's Steve Hefford going past Phil Reagan, but Phil Reagan has lost a lot of time there through having to take an incorrect line, which you probably wouldn't want to have taken, and get 3 wide. Kip Stevens alongside Phil Reagan. Wiley's already gone past him, and now Phil Reagan, a little bit of a nudge to Kip Stevens, be a bumper, and that's also going to allow Carl Hardy to get down the inside. So Phil Reagan is losing place after place at the moment. He just wants it to stop. He's now down in 13th. He's going to try and fight Carl Hardy off, and that is very good driving there from Phil Reagan to deny Carl Hardy, but Carl Hardy's got loose out 15 into the wall. We've seen that 2 or 3 times tonight. Carl Hardy is the latest victim of turn 15, and that will bring a huge sigh of relief for Phil Reagan, because Carl Hardy was right on the back of Phil Reagan, but the battle for 4th place going towards the hairpin at turn 5. Got Roger Morton and Chris Knox. Not really much of a fight being put up by Roger Morton. Probably knows Chris Knox is a lot faster than him, and as they go through to the turn 5 hairpin, he has gone through, but just behind Roger Morton now is James McRitchie and Vincenzo Amico and Kip Stevens, and it's having a good battle with Jason Wiley. That's for 11th and 12th. We've also got Phil Reagan and Cesare Rizzo in that battle, and as you see, there's a swarm of MX5s going down the straight towards turn 7 and turn 8. At the moment, Kip Stevens is leading that pack with Jason Wiley in 12th. Cesare Rizzo is 13th for Double Clutch Racing. You've got James Sharp in 14th place with Phil Reagan 15th. As terms of the AMs, it is actually at the moment Ryan Main for Yearone Racing Academy who is leading the AM category, with Roger Morton in 2nd and Jason Wiley, who is 12th overall, in 3rd place. So Ryan Main is actually the top AM driver at the moment for, as I say, Yearone Racing Academy, the American driver. His first season in the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Series. He leads the AM Championship runners at the moment in 3rd place overall. But Chris Knox is going to give him a bit of a stern test, I think, very shortly, because we've now completed 6 laps, so on to lap 7. And Chris Knox, I don't think he'll be able to win the race, but 2nd place, I certainly think will be realistic. And it looks like they're battling behind quite close, side by side. Yes, they are. That is Roger Morton and Vincenzo Amico. Amico has the inside line. He's also going to take James McRitchie along with him as well. McRitchie a wheel on the grass. And will McRitchie try and get past Amico as well? He is going to try to. He's going to go round the outside. Rather unconventional line. Breaks later than Amico. The asymmetric driver, they will try and have the drag out the corner. He does. But what this will do is it will give James McRitchie the inside line going down towards turn 7. These two drivers are battling for 5th place. And it's James McRitchie who's made it stick. And that move was started a long way ago, but he's gone wrong through turn 7B. You may get a slowdown for that. Yes, he will. So James McRitchie has to yield the place to Vincenzo Amico for exceeding track limits. But that was a fantastic battle between Amico and McRitchie. As we see Ryan Main being able to take him. We said Chris Knox was going to give him a bit of a working out. And it's not taking very long for the double mini challenge champion, Chris Knox, to make his way through. So Chris Knox up into 3rd place. So he's on the grass. It's not going to cost him too much time, though, luckily for himself. Ryan Main 4th, and then Ryan Main's got Amico and McRitchie. The next driver that Ryan Main's fighting categorically in terms of the AM class is Roger Morton, who is a good 3 seconds behind him. So Main does have a little bit of a gap. Someone who has more than a little bit of a gap is Nathan Davis, who leads this race by 8 seconds as he now goes through turn 3 and the sweep at turn 4 towards the hairpin. But Nathan Davis, I said he probably was going to be a favourite for the race, having started where he did after the problems he had in race 1. Nathan Davis already been a winner this season. He took the final race at Sebring last week. And Nathan Davis looking to double up on his championship wins by taking his 2nd one. As we see Jamie Ayres now, Roger, with Nathan Davis, our race leader, as he goes to 7B and then up through turn 8. As you can see, this track is actually quite a technical track. It may look as it's a small track. It is only 2.3 miles, but on that 2.3 miles, there are a lot of tests and challenges. As he takes the curve through 9 and 10, he's got another short shoot straight before he goes down to the left-hander at turn 11, which then goes uphill at turn 12. And Nathan Davis, that car does look pretty much on rails. Very good driving from Nathan Davis. As we look at the battles a bit further down, the top 5, Amico has gone past Ryan Main. James McRitchie's also looking to find a way through, and I think that he will get through on the inside. And not far behind him as well are Jamie Ayres and Daniel Hunt. So those drivers who didn't have a good race in race 1 and the ones who had a very good race in race 1 and are coming through the pack are starting to make the impact now, as we see Nathan Davis starting his 9th lap. But Ryan Main is going to try and fight back against James McRitchie. McRitchie's very slow out of turn 15. It's going to give Main the opportunity. Oh, contact from Jamie Ayres. Oh, Daniel Hunt and Jamie Ayres have collided. And Jamie Ayres, the championship leader, is in the wall. He's going to try and keep on going. We'll have a look at that. Oh, Daniel Hunt. I think what happened there was where Ryan Main and McRitchie were fighting. Main slowed down Jamie Ayres a little bit. He went into the back of, and then the Constantina effect saw Daniel Hunt and Jamie Ayres make contact, but that is huge drama. Our race 1 winner and championship leader has a very, very battered Mazda MX5, and that can have huge implications in terms of the championship. That car has huge suspension damage. He's going to try and drag that one home for 2.5 laps. Rather him than me. We see the battle scars on the back of Ryan Main's car as well. That back bumper stoved in from the contact from Jamie Ayres. That was quite significant. But I think what happened there was where the car of Jamie Ayres went into the back of Ryan Main, it then caused the Constantino effect, and then Daniel Hunt really had not much time to react and went into Jamie Ayres, pitching him into the wall. Daniel Hunt also didn't get off very lightly. Oh, that car very crabby. And Peter Van Gool, his teammate, is the next one to try and get around him. Daniel Hunt is still running in 14th place. So they are both still running, and Daniel Hunt's car looks in much better state than Jamie Ayres'. And it would be wonder if Jamie Ayres gets his car home to the finish. That's his Momo teammate, Peter Van Gool, currently in 15th place. And Peter Van Gool took 2nd place in our first race. McAleer I saw in the background there, going across the grass and losing a couple places. But there's not been much drama at all at the front, although Chris Knox up into 2nd. I said he'd be thinking about 2nd place, and that's what he's done. So Chris Knox up into 2nd. I think realistically that is the best he can hope for, because Nathan Davis has been in the class of the field in the 2nd race, round 10 of the championship. But Charles Kellyman, on course for a podium finish, is going to be under a lot of pressure though, because he has Vincenzo Amico and James McRitchie catching him down in his final lap and a half. You see Chris Knox going through turn 7, triple apex corner, now into turn number 8. The short shoot towards 9 and 10. And I don't think it'll be very long before Amico catches up to Charles Kellyman. Charles Kellyman is a driver in the pro class. He's been promoted from the AMS, where Charles Kellyman has been racing in the past year or so. So a promotion for Kellyman up into the pro championship. Looks like as well, we're just going to have a look and see, in terms of the AMS, it's Ryan Main who's leading that from Roger Morton, they're 6th and 7th overall, and then James Sharp from Movano currently in 3rd. We are watching Steve Hefford currently 8th, who's catching up to Roger Morton, as Nathan Davis has received the final lap board. There'll be one more lap to go, so Nathan Davis just has one more lap to hang on. Steve Hefford is going to go down the inside here of Roger Morton, the AM driver. That's going to be another position for Hefford. And even though Steve Hefford was very loose going through turn 1, some may say, well, why is Steve Hefford trying to go past Roger Morton? As it's because points are on the line. Every position that these pros make is extra points. And at the end of the season, points definitely do make prizes. Amico round the outside of Kellyman, and Vincenzo Amico looks like he has made the move stick. Yes, he has. So Charles Kellyman down to 4th. James McRitchie kicking up the grass a little bit there as he exited turn 5 at the hairpin. But James McRitchie will be seeing that Amico has gone past Charles Kellyman, just waiting for his opportunity. Will it come on his final half a lap? Is the question. Although our race leader Nathan Davis has had no such problems at all. He's now going through turn 11 and turn 12 now. The right-hander at 12 for the final time. He will now go downhill towards turn 13, and then he just has the final 2 corners. Turn 14. He's starting to celebrate, I think, a little bit. And he's got a massive lead, 11 seconds. Round turn 15 for the final time. And round 10, his 2nd win of the season. Don't ruin it now, Nathan. It's going to be Nathan Davis taking victory here at Barber Motorsports Park. A comprehensive victory for Nathan Davis. Behind, though, it's going to be Chris Knox taking 2nd place just from Vincenzo Amico. Amico caught him out very quickly on that final lap. Charles Kellyman does take 4th for Jason Ritchie 5th. And our AM winner is going to be Ryan Main for Yearone Racing Academy. He takes 6th overall on AM victory. Steve Hefford is 7th. Roger Morton takes 8th place and 2nd in AM. Kip Stevens 9th. And 10th, rounding out our AM podium, is James Sharp. So the drivers now coming across the line. There's Cesare Rizzo. He's finished in 11th place for Double Clutch Racing. Peter Van Gool finished 13th. He was 2nd in race 1. And Jamie Ayres has limped his car home into 21st place. And that is a very creditable drive there from Jamie Ayres to drag that one home for 2.5 laps in the state it was. He must be extremely happy now to get out of that car. Graham Slack is 23rd. We got the car of Ryan Moles is going to finish 24th. And Ryan Moles is 5th in the AM standings coming into this meeting. So Ryan Moles finishes. McGregor is 25th. And you see Alan Toon 26th and Mikey Key in 27th. And that's the thing about the British Sim Racers Pro MX5 Championship. You need to be consistent and finish. You don't have to be the fastest driver. For example, Alan Toon is, I'm sure even by his own admission, he's not the fastest driver out there in the AM category, but because he's been consistent and brought the car home and finished races, he found himself in 4th place in the AM Championship going into this round. You see Ben Sharp crossing the line in 29th after a very unfortunate incident. And what we'll do now is we'll bring you the race results from round 10, the second race of the evening. It's Nathan Davis taking the win by just under 10 seconds from Chris Knox, with Vincenzo Amico running out at podium. Charles Kellyman's finished 4th for James McRitchie in 5th. Ryan Main winning the AM class in 6th place, with Steve Hefford in 7th for Momo. 8th is Roger Morton finishing 2nd in AM, with Kip Stevens in 9th for Team Automet Knockhill. And rounding out the AM podium, James Sharp 10th overall. Cesare Rizzo in 11th place, Daniel Hunt in 12th. Peter Van Gool is 13th for Momo, with Phil Reagan 14th for Yearone Racing. Jason Winey takes 15th for Frantic Racing. 16th is Mick Barry for Work Guard by Result Clothing, with Craig Jones 17th for Safeguard by Result. Stuart McAleer takes 18th place for Macumbi McAleer Racing. As we now go through the results, 19th place is Andy Maxwell, with Michael Waltman in 20th. Jamie Ayres finishing 21st following that contact with Daniel Hunt and Ryan Main. Joe McDonald is 22nd, with Graham Slack 23rd. We saw Ryan Moles and Aaron McGregor close together at the end. They were 24th and 25th. Alan Toon with another finish in 26th place, just ahead of Michael Key. Ralph Cullinan finishes 28th. Ben Sharp is in 29th and our final finisher, and the drivers who did not finish the race and retired were Lewis Payne, Rob Graham, David Ward, Steve Cooley, and Dale Bennison. What we have now for you is very shortly, we will have the reverse grid draw done by Graham. I don't know. I'm excited to find out though, because that race. So that is Joe McDonald. So Jamie Ayres, as we said before, it's Nathan Davis had problems in the first race, gets reverse grid pole. Jamie Ayres limps that car home when he could have took it to the pits. He could have towed. He is now going to be second on the grid for the third race, and Jamie Ayres, not only will he get the points for finishing this one, he's now got a chance of victory in race 3. And I think Jamie Ayres has got to be the favourite for this one in race 3, starting from second on the grid. So Joe McDonald will be on pole, Jamie Ayres will be second, with Michael Volkman starting third, Andy Maxwell fourth, and Stuart McAleer will be fifth. And that'll be our top 5 drivers for race number 3. And you'll be able to catch that one shortly of this here on Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha Live.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Good evening and welcome back to Yearone Racing TV in partnership. We are ready to go for round 11, race 3 of the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro Series. A couple of shout outs before we get racing underway. We've got Rachel Sheard watching. Hello Rachel, thank you for watching. And also, we had a message to you from Stephen McAleer to say good luck to Stu McAleer and Chris Knox, and that he'll be back racing with us next week. So Stephen McAleer from the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge will be back with us next week, and Chris Knox, another driver who's raced in America as well. So Stephen McAleer passing on his wishes to Chris Knox, and also seemingly a relation of his, Stuart McAleer, who's been in the action a little bit in the first 2 races. But as you see him there on track now, number 14, Stuart McAleer having a little bit of a battle with Andy Maxwell on track at the moment. We are in practice for race number 3, and Steve Hefford is currently the quickest in practice, with Vincenzo Amico in 2nd place. James Sharp is in 3rd, with Jamie Ayres 4th and David Ward 5th, Peter Van Gill 6th. So some of the same drivers that you see at the front of the race, even in the short practice sessions, they are the ones at the top of the... Chris Knox, McAleer and Maxwell getting involved in a bit of a what the Americans will call a fender bender. So the race will be starting very shortly. The practice session should be finishing any time now really, but as we said, we've had 2 really exciting races. Also another sort of brief tidy up from race 2. Steve Cooley has had VR issues, which causes early retirement due to a low controller battery, I believe. So Steve Cooley having VR issues causing his early retirement from race 2. As the car's going around on the practice session, is currently at 18.3 Celsius, and as we get later into the day, we're at 6:30 now in sim time, with the track getting colder maybe on the first couple of laps. The driver's struggling a little bit potentially at the start. And as you see, we are at Barber Motorsports Park. I'm Dan Blake commentating, and alongside me for today's presentation with your production feed is Mr. Graham Sesford. We are at the Barber Motorsports Park. As we say, it's 2.30 miles, 3.7 kilometers, just over 1 minute and 38 seconds for a lap, and it's produced some really good action so far. And I think what we saw in that last race with our championship leader Jamie Ayres going into the wall and then being able to drag that car home, that could prove so important for him towards the end of the season, because not only did he get the points for finishing in 21st place, but he's also, by finishing and not going into the pits or not towing, he has got himself in a great position, because the reverse grid draw has put him in 2nd place, with Joe McDonald, the American driver, going to be on pole position. We're looking at Peter Van Gill. He had a very good... He started in 2nd, and Momo, really, in the first race, they were on top. They had 3 of the top 4 places in qualifying, with Ayres, Van Gill, and Hefford. Hefford had the incident in the first race when he was leading. And Momo, really, they are leading the team's championships as Peter Van Gill skates across the gravel, as it looks like now we are going to go to the grid very short for round 11 and race 3 of the evening. So here we go then, the grid for round 11. It's Joe McDonald 2nd, Michael Vorman 3rd, Andy Maxwell 4th, Stuart McAleer is 5th, Craig Jones 6th, Mick Barry 7th, Jason Wiley 8th, Phil Reagan is 9th, Pete Van Gill 10th, Daniel Hunt 11th, Cesare Rizzo in 12th place. 13th is James Sharp, Kip Stevens in 14th, Roger Morton's 15th, Steve Hereford 16th, Ryan Main 17th, James McRitchie is 18th, Charles Kellyman 19th, 20th, Vincenzo Amico, 21st Chris Knox, 22nd Nathan Davis, 23rd is Graham Slack, 24th Ryan Moles, and we are about to get racing very shortly. I can see the lights are now very shortly going to be on. As you see there, the rest of our grid. And we are racing here at Barber Motorsports Park as the cars surge away from the start line, and it is Joe McDonald in the lead from Jamie Ayres. But Jamie Ayres, as you can imagine, going to be putting some pressure on Joe McDonald. Jamie Ayres, a 4-time winner in the championship. Joe McDonald, though, will try and hold him off for as long as possible. But as it comes down towards turn 5 and a hairpin for the first time, it looks like Jamie Ayres is going to look to go down the inside and take the lead. Yes, we saw in race 2, Nathan Davis got away from a very similar position, and he was gone like a scolded dog. Would the same be the same for Jamie Ayres, as we see our timing tower now on that top left-hand side. In 3rd place is Michael Vortman. McAleer up into 4th place. McAleer late on the brakes. Contact there with Vortman. That's very unfortunate for Michael Vortman. Hopefully no one will hit him. I think, it's a metric car around James McRitchie, but somehow all these drivers have managed to avoid the car of Michael Vortman, prone in the middle of the track. He's down to McAleer's off into the barrier. A self-inflicted crash there for Stuart McAleer. We saw him have the instant with one, and he is now into the pits. And very unfortunate there for Stuart McAleer. I saw Stephen McAleer in the comments wishing him luck, and not the best at races, but there's always a 4th race. But at the front is Jamie Ayres, who's pulled nearly, he's put well over a 1.7 second lead to Joe McDonald. So Jamie Ayres already pulling away. McDonald is second and leading arm. Daniel Hunt is third. He's another driver that if he can get past the car of Joe McDonald pretty quickly, he might be able to give Daniel Hunt a run. He might be able to give Jamie Ayres a run for his money. There was those two who collided in race 2. We're now looking at Peter Van Gool in 7th, putting pressure on the Team Optical driver of Andy Maxwell. So Van Gool and Maxwell fighting for a 7th place. They've got Cesare Rizzo for Double Clutch Racing, and Phil Reagan currently rounding out your top 10 and 9th with James Sharp 10th. Although Sharp looking to go round the outside of Phil Reagan. That's an AM-class battle. And the other battle we were looking at, Andy Maxwell has the inside line with a better exit out the hairpin at turn 5. Pulls alongside the Optical driver. He's on the outside. If he can brake later though than Andy Maxwell, he may clear him, which he does. But will he? Yes, he does. And there's a bit of contact ahead as well of a McDonald or Jones. It was one of those safeguard by result cars getting involved in the mix. And also Mick Barry up in the 3rd place. There's 2 of them as contact. 3 cars off. One of them is Van Gool. Also, we have lost the cars of Jones and McDonald. Joe McDonald, very substantial damage. He clouted the barrier, and that was a very, very violent incident there, going through turns 9 and 10. Joe McDonald starting on pole position, and that is not how I want this race to go. And 3 wide, 9 to 10, probably advisory, and that is exactly why. But at the front, it is now Jamie Ayres leading from Daniel Hunt, but the gap is 4.5 seconds. Ayres crosses the line at 1:38.589. Daniel Hunt's lap time at 1:40.2. But we're now looking at the battle between Ben Sharp. This is down to the bottom end of the top 10. There's also Chris Knox in there, Vincenzo Amico as well. We've got also just ahead of Amico, the car of Kip Stevens as well. And Kip Stevens has changed his livery between races. Always wanted to keep us on our toes as Mr. Kip. As Ben Sharp looking to go around the outside of Chris Knox. I don't think he's quite going to make it. He's got McGregor though going down his inside, and Ben Sharp caught maybe a little bit unawares there because the car of Aaron McGregor has pretty much mugged him off there. Down the inside he goes, although Ben Sharp will try and back going through turn 7, but that was a very good move from Aaron McGregor. Ben Sharp will get him back there, going through 7A and 7B. A bit of door rub in there. And just behind them is the Race 2 winner in the AM category, Ryan Main, for Yearone Racing Academy. And this is a massive battle that is going on here for... It's a massive train of cars. One of them there going loose on the grass is Chris Knox. So the Double Mini Challenge champion, having a little bit of a problem there, going through turn 10 on the exit. Hasn't cost him too much time. Ben Sharp, though, right on the back of Chris Knox. And these are 2 real-life racing drivers, let's not forget, in Chris Knox and Ben Sharp. But this is a massive swarm of MX5s from, it looks like, because that shows, it's Andy Maxwell backwards. So this is from 4th backwards. The Maxwell train is going forward to the next stop. As we see the number 19 car there of Kip Stevens fighting with Amico. Contact as well, I can hear, but no one is gone round at the moment. But this battle pack is massive. Ryan Main's dropping down. I don't know what's happened to Ryan Main. He was fighting just behind Ben Sharp. Maybe a slowdown. It seems like he's going some pace again. But Ben Sharp under pressure again from the car of, this time, it is Sim McGregor again. As we now look down at Steve Hefford outside the top 10. And this to say, this battle's got Amico. There's also James Sharp and Reagan. Mick Barry is putting away though in the lead for the AMs. So like Barry, 3rd place overall. What all these drivers are tripping over themselves in the AM class with the pros. Mick Barry is trying to get away. Oh, there's a spinner in the background going across the track. That is McGregor. Or was it Cullinan? It's Cullinan. So Ralph Cullinan in the Result Clothing car across the grass. You'll get a slowdown for that, but he did lose a lot of speed by going across the grass. So I should think the slowdown has been well and truly served. I've barely had time to draw breath, and we're 6.5 minutes through this race. As we look at Andy Maxwell now going wide, and James Sharp is going to overtake Maxwell. So the Maxwell train has been well and truly halted as Peter Van Gould and Cesare Rizzo have gone past. James Sharp has gone past. Andy Maxwell could lose a place to Phil Reagan here as well. He's going to compromise his line through turn 15. And just behind Phil Reagan as well, we have Steve Hefford and Vincenzo Amico. The pros are coming through, Phil. Watch your back. He goes down the inside of Steve Hefford. Looks to go down the inside. He'll go past Phil Reagan. Phil Reagan now dropping down into 9th place. Vincenzo Amico is the next pro driver to try and find his way past Phil Reagan as they go round turn 2 in towards turn 3. They take the kink of turn 4. It's really a flat out. I wouldn't even say it's a corner, really. It is literally just a flat out kink. But what it does, it gains them onto the straight as they go down towards the hairpin at turn 5. As we see, Kip Stevens was also involved in that battle, but Kip Stevens seems to have disappeared from my timing screen. So problems there for Kip Stevens. Looks like maybe a technical issue for him, which has dropped him down the order. But the battle is still heats up. There's also a good one there ahead as well. That's Andy Maxwell, Steve Hefford going through turn 7. So Steve Hefford up into 7th place. Andy Maxwell is 8th with Phil Reagan in 9th. And Phil Reagan's done well to keep Amico and Chris Knox behind him. I don't know how much longer the Year 1 racing driver will be able to keep them behind. But Amico and Knox have also got Ben Sharp in the mix as well. So Ben Sharp, another Year 1 driver in 12th place, putting a lot of pressure on Chris Knox. So there Phil Reagan is. He currently sits in 9th. He is the 3rd AM driver. As Ben Sharp looks to make the move on Chris Knox, Jamie Ayres will start his 6th lap. But our attention is on this battle for 11th place. Ben Sharp's had a better run. Chris Knox had to compromise his line to defend from Ben Sharp. And as they cross the start-finish line, Ben Sharp may have an opportunity, but also ahead of them, we have got an overtake between Amico and Reagan. Contact as well. And there's a car round as well. Rizzo. Cesare Rizzo involved in an incident. We'll have to go back and see what happened to Cesare Rizzo. He was running high up in the field. Here we go. We've got it on replay. Peter Van Gould behind him. So Cesare Rizzo looks like he's got on the grass. He's got on the grass. And it's fired into the left. And that's a heavy impact head on into the wall. So Cesare Rizzo has put himself into the wall. But the gap now between Jamie Ayres and Daniel Hunt is quite a big gap. Daniel Hunt had 4 seconds. So Jamie Ayres can still see Daniel Hunt in his mirrors, probably a little bit slightly. The gap stabilised. The last lap, Jamie Ayres did a 1:38.856. Daniel Hunt slightly quicker, 1:38.697. So Hunt was fractions quicker. But now we're going to have a look back and see what's going on at the bottom end of the top 10. Phil Reagan defending from Chris Knox and his Year 1 teammate Ben Sharp. Chris Knox not able to get past Phil Reagan at the moment, and this is a very spirited drive from Phil Reagan, the Yam driver. And now Chris Knox looks to make you Phil Reagan though. Not this time, sunshine. He closes the door on Chris Knox, but McGregor's going to try and get to a Ben Sharp. A little bit of contact there. by Aaron McGregor, the Ronan Sim Sport Academy driver. Ben Sharp will try and fight him through 15. There's more contact, and this time the contact's only around. Oh, it's a heavy. That is Ralph Cullinan. I think he's gotten into him. So McGregor and Cullinan collide after Sharp and McGregor get involved in a bit of door banging. That's interesting to see that one seen by the stewards. As we've got Phil Reagan now fighting with Chris Knotts. Chris Knotts trying to go the long way round turn, but he gets the power down and he's finally made his way through. So Chris Knotts has gone past now, and further up the field we've got Peter Van Gill at the hairpin going past Mick Barry potentially, and he will try and take James Sharp through with him. And that battle is crucial because it is a battle for the AM lead between Mick Barry and James Sharp. The Movano car on the outside. Mick Barry will know that James Sharp is his AM rival, but Mick Barry has had a really good race so far to find himself in 4th and leading the AMs. But James Sharp from Movano Racing is all over the back bumper of that car. And also Phil Reagan I saw in the background going a little bit wide on through. But this battle for the AM lead is going to change very quickly, I think, soon. Steve Hefford also getting in the mix as well in that Momo car. The pro driver is going behind James Sharp. But Mick Barry having a fantastic race, as we say, 4th overall and leading the AM. James Sharp is going to put him under a lot of pressure. It looks to him, no can do that time. And all this is going to allow Steve Hefford maybe to try and make a move on James Sharp. And for Mick Barry, that actually could be the best thing that can happen for his race, because if Steve Hefford can take James Sharp's attention away from attacking and more towards defence, Mick Barry may have a bit of respite. Well, James Sharp went to make the move into turn 1, lost a bit of time though, and Steve Hefford will try and get around the outside. Steve Hefford though is going to try and make that move as quickly as possible because he's under pressure from Vincenzo Amico. After that though, there is about a 3-second gap back, so but after Amico there is a gap. But Steve Hefford at the moment is stuck behind James Sharp from Movano Racing. A little bit of blinking there, and that is the worst possible thing when you're in close contact, not close contact, but close racing, and it's 3 wide. That's Kip Stevens down the inside of Ryan Moles. So Kip Stevens, who had his problems earlier, it looked like a potential connection issue. Kip Stevens back, and now he's going to try and fight Ryan Main, the AM winner from race 2. Will he be able to get past him? Kip Stevens takes a lot more speed in, but Ryan Main has the inside line for turn 7. Not able to do it, although Kip will try the cutback out of 8. This time it's not going to work, so Ryan Main will maintain that position as we see Charles Kellyman in 11th place. He's got some pressure from behind from Ralph Cullinan, but not far behind Cullinan. They put a 2-second gap to Andy Maxwell, so he's got a little bit of time to try and fight with Charles Kellyman and Phil Reagan. Phil Reagan actually currently 3rd in AM, and the 2 drivers behind him, Kellyman and Cullinan, are actually racing in the pro class. So Phil Reagan doesn't have to race with them for a class position, but obviously for overall points he's racing them, that's for sure. Speaking of the AM lead, the battle between Barry and Sharp still going, and Steve Hefford into the back. Steve Hefford maybe getting a little bit impatient there as James Sharp pushed wide, and Vincenzo Amico will also try and get through. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier on about how it might help Mick Barry if these 3 are racing each other. They only threw 3 wide there for a section of the straight before we went into the hairpin. Amico has gone past Hefford. Hefford a little bit wide on the curb, but he's kept it on the track, no time lost there. But Steve Hefford will try all he can to get past Amico. Tries to get through turn 7, not able to do it. Mick Barry though now has 2 cars between himself and James Sharp, a second in AM. And Mick Barry will be keen to keep Amico and Hefford back as long as he can, because it stops him being attacked by James Sharp in the Movano racing car. One of the closest battles on track this is at the moment, but Amico's going to try and get past Mick Barry. Oh, that is extremely brave. Mick Barry a little bit loose. A nudge from Hefford, now slowing James Sharp by. So the AM lead has changed, and that was all due to a very brave move by Amico going through 11 and 12. it was a clean and fair move. I don't think Mick Barry was expecting it. I certainly wasn't expecting it. We'll have a look at that on the replay. As you see, Amico just goes round the outside. He gets him the inside for turn 12. No contact made though, so it's a very good move from Amico, showing his class in that Ronin Sim Sport car. So Vincenzo Amico up into 4th place, with Steve Hefford 5th. James Sharp is 6th. Mick Barry 7th, and 8th is Chris Knox and Ben Sharp. And all the battling has allowed Knox and Sharp to catch up. There was a 3-second gap a couple of laps ago. That is no longer the case, as Chris Knox goes down the inside of Mick Barry, and Chris Knox will take 7th place. Ben Sharp looking to follow him through as well in the Yearone Racing car. Mick Barry is actually still second in arms. We now look on Bob Peffer going through turn 7. Amico, very close racing between the two of them. Steve Heffer's going to overshoot. He's gone across the grass. That will be a slowdown penalty, I'm sure, for Steve Hefford. And that slowdown is going to allow Amico to go past him, potentially. Although it looks like he's held the position. So Steve Hefford, going across the grass, has managed to keep that position. But Amico will try the same move on Hefford that he tried on Mick Barry. It doesn't look like that penalty was served by Steve Hefford fully. Now he served it properly. Down to 7th place. So a very costly move by Steve Hefford. He went to gain the position on Amico, and he's ended up losing 2 to James Sharp and Chris Knox. So have another look at that replay. Yeah, just very, very late on the brakes. He went down the inside. It was an optimistic move. He overshot the corner, and I think once he went across the grass, he knew what was going to happen. He was just trying to delay the inevitable. But we're on the final lap now, and Jamie Ayres has had a rather trouble-free drive, although Daniel Hunt has pulled a lot closer on the last lap. Another 2 tenths taken out of Jamie Ayres' lead. Daniel Hunt, a 1:39.086. Jamie Ayres, a 1:39.269. The fastest lap of the race has actually been done by the Momo car, Steve Hefford, a 1:38.351. So Hefford actually is the fastest driver in terms of lap time in this race, but Jamie Ayres has been the most consistent. He took the lead nice and early. It's what we saw in the second race of Nathan Davis, a driver who was compromised in the previous race, finding themselves in a good position due to the reverse grid. And the championship leader, Jamie Ayres, he took race 1, and Jamie Ayres will be potentially taking race 3, and it'll be his 5th victory of the season. We've got this last lap battle that we're looking at as well further down, but now Jamie Ayres will come across the line very shortly, just going through turn 14 now. He's got a nice gap between himself and Daniel Hunt. Goes through turn 15 for the final time, taking his 2nd victory of the night, his 5th of the season. It's going to be Jamie Ayres to take victory by just over 2.5 seconds. Daniel Hunt in 2nd place. 3rd place, Peter Van Gool currently has that position, and it's one he will hold until the end. Peter Van Gool takes 3rd, with Vincenzo Amico 4th. That's a very close battle. James Sharp is our round winner in 5th place. Chris Knox 6th, with Steve Hefford in 7th. Ben Sharp takes 8th for year 1. Mick Barry 9th place, 2nd in arm. Ralph Cullinan is in 10th. Kip Stevens 11th. Charles Kellyman 12th, and Ryan Main rounds out the AM podium in 13th. As all the cars now come flying across the line. As you see there, Phil Reagan, he was 4th in AM. Roger Morton is 22nd place, just crossing the line now. So, finish there for Roger Morton. James McRitchie, a disappointing race for himself in 5th. He expected to be a lot higher than that, but James McRitchie encountering problems over the course of these 11 laps. And the final car, which is on the lead lap, is our race 2 winner, Nathan Davis. Just shows how much fortunes can change. He had this issue in race 1 near the end, which put him near the front for race 2 on the reverse grid. He won the 2nd race, and now in the 3rd race, he is 29th place and the last driver on the lead lap. He will take 28th though, because David Ward had problems on the last lap and went back to the pits. So Nathan Davis will take 28th place from David Ward as he does now. So Nathan Davis is the 28th and final driver to finish on the lead lap. So our results from round 11 of meeting 3. So it's meeting 3, round 11, race 3. Jamie Ayres takes the victory by 2.5 seconds from Daniel Hunt. Peter Rangel finishes third for Momo, a second podium for him. Vincenzo Amico is fourth, with James Sharp running out top 5 and taking the AM victory. Chris Knox is sixth for Double Clutch Racing. Steve Hefford in 7th place. Ben Sharp in the top 10. He's got 8th place, with Mick Barry second AM in 9th, and Ralph Cullinan running out the top 10. Kip Stevens is 11th place with Charles Kennyman in 12th. Ryan Main rounds out your AM podium. He's 13th, just ahead of his teammate Phil Reagan in 14th. Michael Key takes 15th place, Andy Maxwell in 16th, with Carl Hardy 17th, and Frantic Racing's Ryan Moles 18th. 19th is Michael Ottman, and rounding out the top 20 is Dale Bennison. Lewis Payne takes 21st, with Roger Morton 22nd. Aaron McGregor in the walls that race, he finishes 23rd, just ahead of his teammate Steve Cooley in 24th. James McRitchie 25th. Alan Toon finishes again in 26th position. Jason Wiley 27th. And the final driver on the lead lap, Nathan Davis, in 28th. Driver who finished one lap down, had problems and retired in the race, is David Ward. And our retirements who were more than 2 laps down, we have Rob Graham, Cesare Rizzo, Graham Slack, Craig Jones, Joe McDonald, and Stuart McAleer from Macumbi McAleer Racing. The next thing we'll have a look at now is to see who will have the pole position for our final and 4th race of the evening. We'll go over to Graham Sessford with the reverse grid draw. So our reverse grid is 13th. So Yearone Racing's Ryan Main is on pole position, with Charles Kellyman 2nd, Kip Stevens 3rd, Ralph Cullinan will start 4th, and Mick Barry 5th. So a very low reverse grid draw this time. It is 13, but what it does is it puts Ryan Main on pole position, and we'll be able to see what he does with pole position very shortly when we return to you for race 4 on Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha Live.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Come in for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome back to Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha. I'm Dan Blake commentating. You've got Graham Sessford on the production, and we are about to start the fourth and final race of the night. Just before we do, though, I have updated points following race 3, round 11, and currently leading the championship, Jamie Ayres still with 945 points. Chris Knox is second in the Pro with 851. Kip Stevens is third with 845 points. Mick Barry is fourth with 802, and Ralph Cullinan is fifth with 756. What this means, though, is Mick Barry is leading the AM Championship with 802 points. Alan Toon is second with 728. Craig Jones is third on 685. Andy Maxwell is 675 in fourth, and Roger Morton 673 is well in fifth place. Just a clarification as well on some driver clarification on that one. James Sharp is classified now as a pro driver, so move James Sharp from our AM class to the pro class. And Andy Maxwell is also now an AM driver since our last update on the graphics. So Andy Maxwell goes from pro to AM. In teams, Momo with the team's championship with Work Guard by Result Clothing in second, Result Clothing third, Yearone Racing fourth, and Safeguard by Result in fifth. And I believe the grid is nearly ready for this race. So David Ward is on pole position with Steve Hefford in second place. Joe McDonald is third with Del Bennison fourth. Mick Barry is in fifth with Alan Toon sixth. Roger Morton seventh. Cesaro Rizzo eighth. Graham Slack ninth. Jamie Ayres 10th. Ralph Cullinan is 11th. James Sharp 12th. And what we're going to do is we'll go through the rest of the order because the race is shortly about to start. Craig Jones 13th. Phil Reagan 14th. Nathan Davis 15th. Stuart McAleer 16th. Pete Van Gore 17th. Rob Graham 18th. Michael Keane 19th. Steve Cooley is 20th. Carl Hardy 21st. 22nd. 23rd Jason Wiley. 24th is Ryan Moles. 25th Aaron McGregor. 26th Ryan Main. 27th Lewis Payne. 28th Chris Knox. 29th Ben Sharp. 30th Kip Stevens. Charles Kellyman 31st. 32nd Daniel Hunt. Vincenzo Amico 34th. Jason Ritchie 34th. And Andy Maxwell 35th. As we get ready to start the final race. In fact, that was the wrong grid. It's a completely different grid. But the race is underway, and it's Ryan Main who was on position. But he's made a fantastic start as Ryan Main, and it's going to be Kip Stevens with an there's contact there between Ben Sharp and one of the Result Clothing cars. There's another well. Temperatures have there's a Result car, and we may see a safety car potentially because the track is blocked going through turn 2, turn 3. Vincenzo Amico went involved, James Sharp as well, the Movano car. We are not going to have a safety car. We are going to carry on racing. Track was blocked there briefly, and the top 4 or 5 got through, but after that there is about a 5-second gap. There's more contact as a frantic racing car going on the grass towards the hairpin, and Rob Graham is in 14th place. Got Nathan Davis as well in 15th place. But at the moment, that is Kip Stevens in yet another change of livery. We know it's you. He's just tested us again. I do like that sort of like check shirt tartany sort of design there, Kip. Like, Steve Hefford is like another one who's changed his livery as well. Now in a black, no, it's not black livery, it's just the lighting. Never mind. But Steve Hefford is trying to catch up to Ryan Main, who currently leads the race. So Ryan Main is leading, Steve Hefford second, Kip Stevens in third, with Peter Van Gool in fourth, and Mick Barry in fifth place. Look at the run Steve Hefford's got into the back of Ryan Main. I don't think Steve Hefford expected him to be as slow through the corner as he was, and that's going to give Kip Stevens an open opportunity to take second place down the inside. Kip Stevens may even try and take the lead, which he does. Kip Stevens at the moment has the lead. That Ryan Main will try and fight him on the inside. But that is a great move from Kip Stevens. He'll have the power around the outside. And that is 2 places in 1 corner. Thank you very much. Kip Stevens leads round number 12 of the BSR Pro MX5 2020 Championship, with Steve Hefford in second, Ryan Main third, under pressure from the second Momo car of Peter Van Gool. But in some ways, what Ryan Main's done there is actually pretty smart, because he knew he had a bit of a gap back to Mick Barry, who is the next car, but he's got to fight for in the AM Championship. So Ryan Main, it looks like he's had a bit of an issue. Ryan Main is dropping down the timing screen. Yeah, he's down in 11th place. So an issue for Ryan Main. Curse of the commentator happening to Year 1 drivers as McRitchie goes down the inside of Ryan Main, and we're going so well for Ryan Main, but it looked like he had an issue coming out the hairpin, and that sounds like another issue for somebody there. As we're looking at the battle here, that's Jamie Ayres going past Waltman. Our championship leader, Jamie Ayres, putting his car into gaps, and this time it goes through and it's fine, but behind there's a bit of rubbing and racing. Oh, Waltman into... He's managed to control it very well though, and as we saw at the start of race 3, we have got an action-packed start to this one. Ryan Main on the defensive again for McRitchie. Will McRitchie manage to get through? He does. Ryan Main very slow on the exit. He's been tagged by Rob Graham, and now Ryan Main's in the barrier with Nathan Davis. Ryan Main's race is going from bad to worse, unfortunately for him. He's going to drop down even further outside the top 20. And there's a safeguard car rounded in the wall as well on the straight. Ryan Main testing out his car. I think Ryan Main's got some damage on that one. I don't think that car's it's very damaged. And Ryan Main looks like we're going to the pits. But at the front, oh, it's a contact in the hairpin between Hefford and Stevens. Peter Van Gool's going to try and take advantage of this. They are nearly 3 wide for the lead, but Kip Stevens has taken the lead back from Steve Hefford. There is definite contact. And now Peter Van Gool rides on the back of Kip Stevens. It's 2 Momo cars ganging up on Kip Stevens potentially here. Hefford will try and brake later than Kip Stevens through the turn 8 section, but Hefford's not had the best of runs, and Peter Van Gool now alongside his teammate. They stay in position there. It's going to be Van Gool in 3rd, Steve Hefford 2nd, and Steve Hefford, you got to imagine, is not going to be too impressed with Kip Stevens following the contact into turn 5. Steve Hefford, you can tell just by the body language of that MX5, he is not a very happy bunny. As Peter Van Gool, though, will try and get down the inside of his teammate. Not going to work this time, going through turn 14, but I think Steve Hefford is maybe a little bit of the anger coming through. We'll see what happens when he gets close enough to Kip Stevens, but Daniel Hunt on the back of this pack now as well. So you have 4 cars for the race lead. There's a bit of red mist potentially with Steve Hefford. Ride that curb. They all do. And the MX5 does take these curbs rather nicely. But Kip Stevens leads the race with our lap 4 of 11 with Steve Hefford in 2nd. A bit controversial. Peter Van Gool 3rd. Daniel Hunt's 4th. And our leading AM, Mick Barry in 5th. And he's got a bit of a gap back before championship leader Jamie Ayres is about 3 seconds behind him. But Mick Barry has had a very consistent night tonight, and he is leading the amateur championship currently after round 11. But here we go. It's Hefford versus Stevens round 2. As they come down towards turn 7, Hefford tries to get around the outside of Stevens. He's almost got the overlap, not quite though. And Peter Van Gool wants a bit of this as well. That's just Daniel Hunt. And Daniel Hunt it is, who's got a good run out to turn 8 on Peter Van Gool. They're side by side for 3rd place. And I think Daniel Hunt was just about trying to sweep through, but Peter Van Gool claims the line, and Daniel Hunt does back out of it. So good racing by the top 4 at the moment. It's very close. Kip Stevens in that sort of greyish and tartan car is with Steve Hefford and Peter Van Gool, the 2 Momo teammates, 2nd and 3rd. Daniel Hunt in 4th. And then there's a bit of a gap back to our leading out, Mick Barry in 5th. But these top 4 drivers, 4 with the very best in the BSR MX5 Pro Championship. Phil Reagan's dropping down my timing screen as well. That's like problems with Phil Reagan as well further down the field. But as we look now, still at this top 4. Oh, Kip Stevens with a wheel on the grass. Round the outside goes Steve Hefford. And Steve Hefford, we've seen drivers carrying the momentum round the outside, and it's allowed them to get the inside line going towards the hairpin at turn 5. And this is as close as Steve Hefford's been. Kip Stevens blocks across, but he's not going to be able to take the inside line enough for Steve Hefford not to go down there. Hefford down the inside at turn 5. Stevens on the outside, and Hefford gets through. Steve Hefford makes his way through cleanly on Kip Stevens. Kip Stevens, they will try and fight back straight away. And this is the battle for the race lead, and Kip Stevens looking to go down the inside at turn 7. He's got to be brave and late on the brakes. Not quite able to do it. Steve Hefford held his car to the outside. He gave Kip the room, but Kip not able to capitalise on that. So Steve Hefford leads. Stevens in second place. Peter Van Gool third. Daniel Hunt is in fourth. And Mick Barry, where they were fighting, Mick Barry isn't being dropped as quickly as he normally would be by these pro drivers. And if anything happens with these 4 in front, Mick Barry could be on for a podium as Hunt goes past Van Gool. It looks like we see, yes, the move's been made. It was made going through down towards turn 11. So Daniel Hunt has made the move on Peter Van Gool. So Daniel Hunt in a podium position. Peter Van Gool's fourth. And now Mick Barry there in 5th place with Jamie Ayres a further few seconds behind him. And then we have our second AM with McGregor. So Aaron McGregor is the second AM driver with Bob Graham currently third AM in 9th place. There's a Yearone Racing car I see in the pit lane. But this battle for third between Daniel Hunt and Peter Van Gool. Have a look at the time. Steve Hefford is a 1:38.9 on the last lap. But he's under pressure from Kip Stevens. They're side by side going up towards turn 4 with a kink. And then turn 5. But Hefford has the inside for the hairpin. But if Kip Stevens can get the run on the outside, the next corner at turn 7 will favour him, but not able to do it. He slots in behind Steve Hefford, and this is BSR MX5 racing at its best. We see these 4 drivers who are extremely quick, and they've been in the championship a long time, the veterans of the championship, fighting tooth and nail for victory in the battle for supremacy. And currently it is Steve Hefford who is the supreme of the 4, with Stevens, Hunt and Van Gool. I wouldn't rule Daniel Hunt either. Daniel Hunt's had some really impressive pace today. He's been involved in a couple of incidents though which haven't been able to show his true potential, but I think Daniel Hunt is also, as I say, he's got a very good chance of victory. Just how quickly can he get past Kip Stevens though? We've seen Kip Stevens not the easiest driver to overtake, as Steve Hefford will tell you, but Steve Hefford, now he's made the break, has about half a second of lead, although going through turn 14 may have lost a tiny bit of time there on Kip Stevens, but he goes through turn 15 to complete his 6th lap. Oh, a little bit loose there from Hefford. That's going to lose him momentum, and the MX5 really is a momentum car, and when you lose that momentum you lose your pace. Steve Hefford, a 35.521. Kip Stevens 2,000 quicker. He slid wide, and Hefford's going to go out again from the lead for the second time tonight. Steve Hefford has thrown away a potential winning opportunity. I just don't think Steve Hefford wants to win a race this season. He's had 2 opportunities tonight to do it, and now he's going to drop down into 13th place. Have a look on the replay which Graham has put up. He was loose on entry, then he caught the bit of the grass mid-corner, and that just sent the car into the wall. Nothing that Steve Hefford could do about it. He tried to fight it with all his might, but Steve Hefford is down to 13th place, and now Daniel Hunt leads. What's happened to Kip Stevens? Kip Stevens dropping down the timing screens. I wonder what's happened to Kip Stevens. We're looking at replay. Oh, it's all going off here at Barber Motorsports Park. Daniel Hunt and Kip Stevens colliding, and that's what dropped Kip Stevens down. So Daniel Hunt is who leads, Peter Van Gool second, and I told you Mick Barry was on for a podium. Well, now you better believe it. Mick Barry is in 3rd place, the AM driver, and he is on for an overall podium the way things stand at the moment, and he does have a 3.5 second gap over Aaron McGregor, who is the next AM driver, the second AM driver. That James McRitchie in 5th place is about 4.2 seconds behind Mick Barry. It'd be great to see Mick Barry take an overall podium. I think that'd be one to watch. If James McRitchie can get past McGregor, I think McRitchie will give Mick Barry definitely something to think about. And we're watching James McRitchie now. James McRitchie is in a train of cars, so including Jamie Ayres. So if they get past McGregor soon, it's going to be a case of release the hounds, and they will be definitely chasing after Mick Barry, because they are some of the fastest drivers in our championship. Jamie Ayres, obviously the championship leader, and McRitchie goes down the inside at turn 2, McGregor, and there we go, he's been released. James McRitchie's gone through. He goes past Aaron McGregor, but the battle for the lead is as close as ever, going through the hairpin. Daniel Hunt and Peter Van Gool, just 3.5 tenths separate the two of them. And what will be interesting to see now is what happens between Barry and McRitchie as we see McGregor tumbling down the timing screen. He's had a bit of an incident. He's now down to 13th place. Going to have a look on the replay provided by our director Graham Sessford, see what's happened to him. It looks like he's gone late on the brakes, potentially into the hairpin. No, oh, there's a contact. He had contact from Rob Graham. So Rob Graham it is who has gone into McGregor there at the hairpin, and that's dropped him down some places. He comes out just behind Steve Hefford. Also, we are now looking at a battle. That's all contact there between McAleer and one of the Frantic Racing drivers. So the Frantic Racing car losing out there and a bit of contact. The gap at the front is still just as close as it has ever been as we now race into the night here at Barber. We are now at 10 past sim time. Oh, wheel on the grass there from Daniel Hunt. He got very lucky not to lose that. He's lost a couple of tenths potentially there, but he was so lucky not to lose the car. At 1:38.8, that is Peter Van Goghl's fastest lap of the race. The current fastest lap is Daniel Hunt, a 38.480. But I think this battle is about to explode into life because Peter Van Gogh is going to capitalise potentially on that mistake from Daniel Hunt going onto the straight. Van Gogh going to have a look down the inside. No can do this time. Daniel Hunt has managed to pull away and pull the gap out just enough to stop Van Gogh making the lunge. Third place, Mick Barry, is 8 tenths slower than McRitchie on the previous lap. Will McRitchie be able to catch him is the question, but as the leaders come through turn 7 and turn 8, it's Hunt and Van Gogh. The controversy there about the move that Daniel Hunt put going through turn 5. Kip Stevens did seem to be there quite a way to the inside, so we'll let the stewards decide that one between themselves. As we now look at Carl Hardy, first time we've seen Carl Hardy, it looks like on stream tonight, but Carl Hardy in 7th place is trying to catch up to the car of Rob Graham, and that's a car which had contact with McGregor, and that was a battle for AM position as well, because Rob Graham in the AM class now currently 2nd and 6th overall. Carl Hardy, a graduate of the AM class, now racing in the Pro class, trying to make a move on that Team Automet Knock Hill car ahead of him with Rob Graham, and behind him is the recovering Kip Stevens. You've also got James Sharp and Michael Vortman as well in that battle. We have 2 laps to go, and there's still a lot to settle in these battles in the top 10. Mick Barry's last lap at 1:40.9. Oh, Rob Graham onto the grass. We've seen a couple of drivers get the grass and not be able to save it, but Rob Graham has done it, and he hasn't lost any time either. But he's going to be under intense pressure here from Carl Hardy in that result claving car. They've got Kip Stevens behind as well, and I'm sure Kip Stevens isn't too impressed following the little nudge he received at this very corner previously. He's going to try and go past Carl Hardy, but no can do on that occasion. And now he's going to have to be careful because he's got the Movano car of James Sharp, who also will try and make a move as they go down through turn 7. It's 2 by 2 as we see the battle there between Graham and Hardy. Graham just about keeps 7th at the moment, 6th at the moment. Hardy is 7th, Kip Stevens 8th, James Sharp is 9th. And you also have Voltman and Jones as well. And then a little good battle behind as well, McGregor and Ben Sharp and Hefford. But this is a battle we're looking at about for 6th place between, as we say, Rob Graham and Carl Hardy. Rob Graham doing well to hold off these pro drivers at the moment, but surely it's only going to be a matter of time before they manage to find their way through, especially Kip Stevens is going to make a move on Carl Hardy, take 7th place. So the Team Automet Knock Hill driver of Kip Stevens up into 7th place. They're going to go around turn 14 for the penultimate time, and they'll see that last lap ball now because we are at the final lap, lap number 11. So Kip Stevens it is in 7th. We're now looking at this battle between Mick Barry and James McRitchie. Is he going to hold on? He's got one more lap to hold on to a podium place overall, but the battle for the front just as fraught as well. Van Gogh trying to get around the Dan Hunt into the hairpin at turn 5. Not able to do it, but if Van Gogh can get the better drag out, he may be able to try something. So no, he's put it in, and he saves it. Pete Van Gool went for a rodeo ride. He's not going to win this race, but in the same time, he did very well to save that one from going into the wall. I think at this stage, Van Gool's thinking, I'm going to hang on to the second place. No risk needed. But Peter Van Gool went for broke and went for the victory and nearly ended up in the wall. And speaking of people battling for every last bit, we got Mick Barry trying to fight off James McRitchie for that final podium position. I know this would be such a big deal to Mick Barry. If he can get a podium, an overall podium, it'll be an AM win as well. Mick Barry, currently our AM Championship leader going into the race, he will strengthen his position at the top of the AMs, but it looks like now that Daniel Hunt is 2 corners away from sealing a victory here in the BSR 2020 Pro Series. He comes around turn 15 for the final time, and it is going to be Dan Hunt who takes his second victory of the season. He wins round 12, and it is Daniel Hunt jubilant at that. You can see him jigging the car from left to right. Peter Van Gool takes second place, and it is going to be Mick Barry rounding out our podium. An overall podium and an AM win for Mick Barry. What a fantastic result for the work guard by result clothing driver. He holds off James McRitchie for 4th. Championship leader Jamie Ayres is 5th. And Rob Graham is second in AM and 6th place. Our third AM driver is Michael Voltman in 9th. But these results could change. Obviously, we've had a few bits of contact as well through the race. There was the one with Graham and McGregor, and we also saw the contact between Kip Stevens and Daniel Hunt. So Daniel Hunt does take the victory on the road. That one may go to the stewards later. But on the road anyway, it is victory for Daniel Hunt. We're just looking through some of our final finishes. That was Lewis Payne taking 20th place. And a little bit of hijinks at the end of the race. We've got Graham Slack, who's just coming across the line 15 to take 25th place. The track visibly darkened as we now go into night here at Barber. Graham Slack takes 25th as a finish for him, with David Ward also. Alan Toons crossed the line as well. He'll take 27th. Ryan Main as well. So we're just getting our last few cars crossing the line. Ryan Main finishing 4 laps down, so he will not class as finisher, unfortunately, in this one. And that is everyone crossing the line. David Ward, final finisher in 26th place to cross the line. So we'll now go through our results. So it's a second win of the season and a first of the night for Daniel. He takes the victory on the road with Peter Van Gool in second place for Momo. Very close, but that last lap move didn't quite work. He did very well to keep it out of the wall. Mick Barry taking the AM win and an overall podium. Fantastic result by the work guard by result clothing driver, with James McRitchie in 4th and Jamie Ayres rounding out your top 5. Rob Graham is the second AM driver. He finishes in 6th place. That again may be one that's reversed in the stewards room, with Kip Stevens finishing 7th for Team Automet Knock Hill. James Sharp is 8th for Mavano Racing, with Michael Voltman 9th and rounding out your AM podium. 10th is Carl Hardy with 11th Craig Jones. Yearone Racing's Ben Sharp finishes 12th, with Aaron McGregor in 13th. Steve Hefford is 14th for Vincenzo Amico and 15th for Roning Sim Sports Academy. Joe McDonald is 16th, Del Bennison 17th, and Steve Cooley is in 18th place. 19th is Chris Knox with Double Clutch Racing. He had a very quiet race, with Lewis Payne in 20th and Roger Morton 21st. Stuart McAleer 22nd, with Jason Wiley 23rd. Charles Kellyman is 24th, Graham Slack 25th, and David Ward 26th. 27th and being classified as a finisher will be Alan Toon. And the drivers who did not finish the race and won't be classified as finishers will be Ryan Moles. Ryan Main did finish, but he will not be classified. He's not done enough laps. Phil Reagan is 30th. Cesaro Rizzo 31st. Mikey Key 32nd. 33rd Nathan Davis. 34th Ralph Cunningham. And 35th is Andy Maxwell. So in that race, we have had 8 non-finishers in this one. So a race of attrition, but it is Daniel Hunt who takes victory in this one tonight.
Did you enjoy that, Dan? It's a good night's racing.
Yeah, it was extremely good racing in all 4 races. in the BSR MX5 Pro Series, you can never really predict what's going to happen. We've also now got the provisional championship standings as well, following that 12th round of the season, round 12 of 140 races. This is a championship that will go on long into the year. As you see, we've only done 3 meetings, 12 races. There's 140, so it's a very long slog and very much consistency in getting those points on the board is key. Jamie Ayres leads the championship. He is on 1031 points, with Kip Stevens second with 930. Chris Knox third in the championship with 920 points. Mick Barry is fourth, 892. And then James Sharp rounds out your top 5 in the pros, 812. And as far as the AMs go, Mick Barry leads the AM Championship. He extended his lead in that one by some more points. Alan Toon is second, 103 points behind. Craig Jones is third for Safeguard by Result. Fourth is Roger Morton, Safeguard by Result. So the top 4 in the AM category all come from that Result Clothing stable, with Charles Kellyman in 5th place for Team Optical. And as far as your team standings goes, Momo lead the team's championship by 394 points, with Work Guard by Result Clothing in second. Result Clothing are third. Fourth in the team's points are Safeguard by Result. And in the 5th place are Team Automet Knock Hill. So that is your top 5 in both the Pro and AM, along with your team championship. And as Graham was saying, we have seen some really close and exciting racing today at the Barber, and as you can see, it just has been a total. It shows you what BSR is about all over. Really, we've sort of seen a bit of everything. There's been close racing. We've had a few instances of contact, and along with the results for what we've had for the standards, I can now give you the week results as well. Jamie Ayres, top point scorer this week, 364. Peter Van Gool's had 359, and Vincenzo Amico, 345. They are the 3 top scoring drivers. In the AM category, Mick Barry has 312 points tonight. He's a leading AM driver. Michael Vortman, 295 points. And Charles Kellyman, 287. So those are the drivers who have done it on the week as well. And as we have a look now, we'll see what's going on at the next meeting in the championship. We've had the 3rd meeting here at Barber, and the action next week, we'll see where the action is going to be. But no matter where the action is, we know that we're going to see very similar to what we've seen today, with the fantastic racing action, and it gives everyone something to look forward to. Try and see. It's Spa next week, so we are going to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and I think that will be an absolutely fantastic race. As you see, the home of the Belgian Grand Prix, and there's a lot of long straights, and as we say, the MX5 is very good for their drafting, so I think, Graham, we will see some really good racing again next week.
Yeah, it will be. These cars put out a good show. Who would you say your driver of the day is? I'm going to say Mick Barry for me.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jamie Ayres. He's had to put in some really dogged performances. He's had 2 wins. He had that issue as well in the second race where he had to drag that car home for 2.5 laps. Mick Barry, though, as you say, he's done a fantastic performance. Top AM driver on the night. He's taking an overall podium, and I know Mick will be absolutely over the moon. So well done, Mick, on the overall podium. And how do you feel the Year 1 drivers have got on today, Graham, team manager?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Enough said.
So what we'll do is, for me, Dan Blake and Graham Sessford, we will leave you for now, and we will see you the next broadcast. I believe we'll be showing here on Yearone Racing TV in partnership with Alpha Live will be the 4th meeting of the British Sim Racers MX5 Pro 2020 Championship, which will be at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Everyone stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.